Shadow's lock. So let's interrogate. So the two of you don't believe us, eh? It's not that I don't trust either of you, but I wouldn't be a proper detective without examining the validity of your alibis. Jello and I are here to confirm two things. Why Vector left to go play games with Knuckles, and if SBO really was reading in the library card. Vector, we'll start with you. Why did you leave the library card to visit Knuckles? We're prepared to present for evidence if we need. Oh, that's easy. I got bored. What? I wasn't entertaining him enough, it seems. The Vector enjoys being social. Plus, we were instructed to mingle. I remembered the arcade machine in the salon car, so I figured I'd go check it out. It seems to line up with the information we gathered with numbers. So that brings our attention to you, Espio. Rouge entered the library car, found something, then left. You said you had immediately started reading. But were you actually reading the entire time you were in the library car? Of course he was! Once Espio starts reading, he doesn't stop until it's done. I've seen it happen. You must have had a good read. What was the book? Espio doesn't owe you that, detective. Let the man live. But what if it was embarrassing? What kind of things do you think I read? If he won't talk, I have a hunch on what the book might be. Jello, could you help me out? Alright, Jello, what book do we think SBO may have been reading? This one. This is the only book. A manual? You think SBO was just reading instructions? What argument do you possibly have this to support this? Alright, we got 51 rings, let's go! There are books scattered around the floor for sure, but the remaining books on the shelves were in alphabetical order. All except this manual, meaning someone at the very least picked the manual up and put it back in its place. This lack of attention to detail isn't normally like you, SBO. Hey now, you won't have to be insulting. You don't have to. I won't have you be insulting my pal like this. Calm down, Vector. I know you mean well, but I can't. I know you mean well, but I can't handle it myself. Apologies, SBO. A butcher and a poet. Friendship can form anywhere. That is indeed the book I was reading. Garage Express Manual Train Cycle. In that case, I'd like to ask you a few questions about the manual, Jello, if you don't mind. Could you ask SBO some questions about the manual? Just flip to a page and ask away. Oh, I see. Quiz SBO about the manual to prove that. Ready? Which page should I quiz him on? Page 362. Okay, what efficient and extremely accurate technology was installed to assist in keeping the train spotless? The robotic arms. During the events, they can perform a variety of tasks and are responsible for cleaning up the trash and messes afterward. I remember the conductor saying the train can clean itself. Though I have a feeling the train company just didn't want to hire any janitors. The robotic arms can also detect the weapons or explosive being brought onto the train, ensuring What's another one? Okay. Which page should I choose? Page 15. What is the Mirage Express's cancellation policy? No refunds, and you have to be charged a no-show fee. This does not apply if you're over the age of 65. Gee, the person who made this rule must have been over 65. Last one, Jello. Let's see if SBO can get to go 3 for 3. Gotcha. What page should I pick last? Page 402. What was implemented to support the conductor duties and ease the general train obligations? Excellent data processing system. It works in tandem with the conductor to assure smooth travel for guests. I remember this. The train has an autopilot, but it can't access its full suit of capabilities without the conductor's consent. Now, did I pass your little test? Yes. Totally! It's wild that you were able to retain all this information so quickly. A poet's brain is often surprising. I don't know if I'd be bragging about that. You've clearly read the manual. Those answers feel far too specific to be guesses, and you both had the nerve to question my buddy like that. Don't we want to be supported by folks who read? You have to admit, though, reading the entire time a murder occurred does sound suspicious, even if true. But he answered all my questions so calmly. That's impressive. No, I understand everyone's cautious attitudes. Vector was the only one to see me reading after all, and my alibi is hard to sustain, despite being the truth. Oh, well, you definitely read through the manual, so I suppose we can. Is that true? Vector is the only one to see you reading? Yep, that's correct. Problem? Frankly, I don't believe that can be true, and we have evidence to back it up. Jello? It always puts me on the spot. Okay, Jello, think what could have been evidence to someone who also saw SBO reading, but what? Shadow's lock, yeah, this is the thing I found. Shadow's lock? Please pray tell, what does this have to do with anything? We're up, Jello. Let's get our arguments moving. High score on the arcade machine. Yeah, but I ended up beating it. It wasn't the high score long. Trucks are natural favorites. SBO said how he saw Shadows enter the library car, but he's mentioned nothing about Shadows' return. He only mentions that Vector came back. When Shadows left Knuckles and Vector to the salon car, SBO was fully seated reading his book for a good while at this point. We know Shadow has to walk back to the library car where he left the salon car, so there's obviously no way Shadow and SBO didn't notice one another in Shadow's return trip. I mean, it was a simple slip up. I was just fully immersed in my book that I didn't notice Shadow. You're telling me the sound of doors opening and locking wouldn't have caused me to look it up? Well, you see, I can sense library card at all. But how would SBO leave? Shadow locked all the doors and no one saw SBO in this long car. It's a mystery, my dear Shallow, but one that I would love for SBO to solve. You gotta believe me. That cool demeanor is vanishing. I was so involved with my book I didn't notice Shadow passed back through the library car. Honest! When Vector returned, he even had to tap me on the shoulder to get my attention. Yeah, I think I remember me doing that. I must avenge my friend's death, so I'll ask you again, SBO. If you weren't there for the library for Shadow to see you reading, how did you leave the library? I didn't. Why doesn't this feel frightening? Tails definitely feels like he's onto something, but I don't see it. Is SBO sitting, reading? Or did he somehow vanish not to show Shadow's return to the library card? What should I do? Join Tails. No, I can't interrupt Tails while he's onto something. I'll let him continue this line of questioning and... Jello, my favorite and beloved employee, please protect the passengers on board this train. They must be taken care of. If you fail, the lawsuits will be torturous. Don't allow such an old feeble soul to get sued. I have to make sure our guests are taken care of. I have to speak up. Tails! We have a piece of evidence that can answer all of our problems. Alright, my fellow associates, lay it on me. What piece of evidence shows Shadow and SBO couldn't have seen one another? Alright, now to get my thoughts in order. Let me give it another go. Library map? Oh, I see. See the exits? They're right across from one another. A straight path. The Shadow walked down the straight path. If there's a way SBO and Shadow couldn't have seen one another. It looks like you had to point out where exactly on the map you mean. Where could SBO have been for Shadow to not see him?
Many months later.
I got my detective hat on, and let's do this. That desk is huge. I'm sure Shadow would have seen SBO if he was reading there. Right. Alright, here we go. That's a bookcase. Interesting. That's where was sitting reading my book. I can second this. When I returned from the salon car, this SBO was in the same car spot. That confirms it that you see, Shadow and SBO couldn't have seen one another from that spot because the bookcase is in the way. There's no way Shadow could have seen SBO or vice versa. It makes a whole lot of sense why you had to mention Shadow's return, SBO. There's just no way you could have seen it. I'm sorry for losing my cool back there. I felt like I was grasping despite television. But I'm glad you all believe me now. Your alibi isn't the most airtight, and I have no further place. Thank you both for answering all our questions. We did it! Another pair of alibis! Finally! Validated! Too many locked doors to worry about, but I'm glad everything straightened itself out in the end. Well, I'm exhausted. I'm gonna go crash out here for a bit. These chairs are so comfy. Likewise, I could use a breather. Sadly, our work isn't done. I have plenty of questions for Rouge, and especially Shadow. Oh, it seems that the door next to the next car is open. Maybe it must have kept it open when she passed through earlier. And that's our cue to leave. See you later, Vector and SBO. Give him a heck. What? And if you need any meat chopped up, say the word. I'll keep my poetry sharp for you both. A murderer is on the loose. While doors keep getting locked, tick-tock goes the clock. Tick-tick-tock goes the clock. While our heroes are in the caboose. At this point, I'm feeling pretty confident in our detective abilities. We're really doing this. Come on, Jello, let's see what's next. Coming! You sure you don't want to stay and look at the gray books a bit longer? Mystery calls. Okay, the investigation continues. Alright guys, that'll be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed.